my name is Jordan Rodney. I'm the founder of Rodney Employment Law and the president of MaxPeople. Today I'm here to talk to you about one of the most difficult challenges employers face, and that is terminating employees. And I'm going to provide you with an overview of 5 tips to ensure effective employee terminations. The first one is asking yourself, what is the reason for the termination? The vast majority of terminations that take place, certainly with our clients, are without cause terminations. These are usually due to business reasons, restructuring, or simply not wanting to have the person employed with you anymore. In the case of a without cause termination, there's usually a payment that's made either under the Employment Standards Act or under common law if you don't have an employment agreement, and those are the vast majority of the cases. The other type of termination is a termination with cause, and that occurs when an employee has ongoing performance issues or conducts himself with very serious misconduct such as theft, vandalism, breach of trust, harassment, and renders the employment relationship no longer possible to continue as a result of the employer no longer trusting the employee. In the case of a with cause termination, there's typically no payments that are made upon termination. Next thing I want to talk about is the important question is there an employment agreement in place? And this is the single greatest weapon that employers have today, yet the vast majority, I would suggest upwards of 90% of our clients don't have valid and enforceable employment agreements. If you do have one, and I would highly recommend that you have your agreements looked at, you can basically provide clauses, including a termination clause, that would provide the employee their minimum entitlement upon termination. In that case, when the employee is terminated, you simply pay out their contractual rights. On the flip side, if you don't have an agreement, or if you have an agreement that may not be enforceable and it can be challenged, then the employee is entitled to what's called their common law entitlement. And in that case, it's a little bit more of an unknown payment or unknown amount that you would owe the employee, and it's based on things like age, length of service, type of position, and availability of finding similar employment. So really, it's much smarter for employers to have these agreements in place, to have certainty as to what they have to pay upon termination, as opposed to wondering when it reverts to common law. The third one is the importance of having a clear and concise termination letter and release. It's very important for us at Rodney Employment Law. We don't believe in the legalese language that creates ambiguity and confusion, but rather we believe in having simple, clear, and straightforward termination clauses and termination letters and releases. And the reason for that is it's very difficult to terminate someone. The last thing you want to do is have a termination letter that's confusing or not easily understandable by the employee. So with a termination letter, you want to include things like, is there benefit continuance, which in some cases is required by law. You want to include clauses like confidentiality, non-solicitation clauses. You might want to offer the employee outplacement, which is always a good thing, but you have to be very thoughtful as to what goes in the termination letter. Similarly, with the release, a release is a legal document that basically prevents, upon signing, the employee from coming back and filing a claim or complaint against you as the employer. It's very important when you are getting a full and final release signed that employees understand that their legal rights are basically taken away. One thing that's very important is a release should be considered and obtained in all cases. However, the one exception is if an employer is only providing what the employee is entitled to under contract, under their employment contract, then you wouldn't get a signed release because you owe them those payments unconditionally. The next thing I want to talk about is the termination meeting itself and the importance of carefully planning and scheduling it. Terminations are very difficult, and the manner in which you do it is equally, if not more important. So it's very important with terminations, make sure you do it in a private and discreet location. Make sure that you do it when the timing is right, if there's such a thing as right timing for a termination. So you don't want to do it before a long weekend. You don't want to do it the first day someone comes back from a long sick leave. You don't want to do it before someone's daughter's wedding. You want to be very thoughtful as to the timing of the termination. The most important thing with the termination meeting is to ensure the dignity and respect of the individual involved. That's the most important thing. Minimize interactions with other staff and respect the difficult message that they're receiving. Lastly, I want to talk about the most important principle of hiring slow, firing fast. And this is one of the most important things that we tell our clients every day. So in the hiring process, the most important thing is to get the best, very best talent within your organization. It's a very difficult thing to do, and what we tell employers is please don't settle. Please spend the time you need to secure the very best talent, as it will help you significantly in the long run. And we encourage employers to continue to challenge, to raise the bar on this issue. On the flip side, if you have an employee who's causing you problems, who's a bad apple, who's not aligned with your company values, or is an underperformer, and you're talking about it at work and even after hours, fire fast, because this problem is unlikely to go away. And if you as an employer can say that you've done everything you can to assist that employee, then you need to cut your losses and make the difficult decisions. Of course, we're available to give advice if anyone has questions, because these are not easy issues. They're difficult, they're counterintuitive, and it's not something that, that as employers, you can learn from a textbook. So we want to thank you very much for listening today, and please reach out to us if you have any questions on the delicate topic of managing employee terminations.